Moving to Florida can be one of the craziest decisions you make. And I promise you, if you're like me and my family, you're like, should we even do it? You probably got friends, family, and close relatives telling you that you're crazy. Why would you move to Florida? You know, you have no one there, you have no friends, you have no family, maybe you do have them and you're relocating back to the state. But if you're like us and me, when we came here, or even thinking about making the move, it was amazing how many people were kicking back against us. So the real question is, what are the pros and cons to living in Florida? What have I realized since living here? I've done these videos before, and well, now I'm reattacking the issue, trying to figure out, hey, has anything changed since living here? Okay, so we're gonna talk about the pros and cons that I have found since being in Florida for this amount of time. And well, the first thing I'm gonna say is it's been a wild ride. I mean, Florida's never changing. There's always so much stuff going on, and I am just always amazed with what it's like here. So we're gonna get right to it. The first pro is going to be you get more money compared to most other states. Now, Florida is not one of the cheapest states. If you are looking to move here and you are looking for some very, very low affordability or high affordability, not the state. Florida has gotten increasingly expensive. I mean, let's be honest, the whole country's gotten expensive at this point. And it's just one of those places where you gotta understand that you're probably gonna spend the same amount of money you're coming from, and depending what state you're coming from. If you're coming from the middle of the Midwest, hey, I'm sorry, you're gonna be spending a lot more than you're used to where you came from. But if you're like me, whether you're coming from New York, California, New Jersey, Oregon, Washington, one of those other states, you're probably gonna be coming to this area. What I tell people is you're gonna spend the same amount of money, but one of the things I loved since coming here is maybe instead of getting a condo, right, in California or something like that, where I was stationed last, is you get to come here and you get to have a full-on house, right? I got 3 boys, I got WWE up in this house. I do not have time to be living in a two-bed condo that I can barely afford in San Diego, where I come here and I have the ability to actually have a house and actually do things in that home. So that's the biggest thing I can tell people, that it's the biggest difference. And you will save money in housing costs to a point if you're coming from one of those states, but honestly, I ended up just spending the same amount of money. I just get more for my money, if that makes sense. But depending also what state you're coming from, your utilities may be more expensive or cheaper. Like coming from California, my utilities are substantially cheaper because states are freaking shut the heck communist state. But you know, it's whatever at this point. We're here in Florida, so that's we get to enjoy this great sunshine. So going to the list is number 2 is weather. So look, yes, when you get to the cons, we're gonna talk about that. But most of the time, look, I love the rain. I love the sun. Florida actually doesn't have, like, people think of sun, they think of California, right? Sunny all the time, perfect weather. When it comes to sunlight, Florida's actually only about like 10 or 20 days per year less. Not even that much. It was very close. It was like 10 days less average per year less than like California. We get a lot of sunshine here. And don't forget, starting in November through April, you have the dry season, meaning you really aren't gonna see rain during that time. Okay, so it's really the summer and like weather months that are super, super humid. Personally, I love it. I think it is awesome. I love the rain. I love how every day I can expect rain. Yes, it's annoying. You have to work around your schedule. You have to make sure that, oh, is it gonna rain? Is it not gonna rain? All that stuff. Like, it's Florida. It is what it is. And the humidity does suck. I'm not really including that as a con in the state of Florida, because if you're looking at moving here, you need to understand humidity. If you can't deal with it, then I don't even know why you're watching this video, if we're being honest right now. And that goes into a good point. You know, when it comes to moving to Florida, there are actually different climates in the entire part of the state. And if you are looking to make a move here, especially if you're looking to move to Central Florida or Jacksonville area where we are located, we actually are a group of real estate agents dedicated to helping relocation and military personnel like yourself. I was in the military, obviously, stationed. But if you're looking to make a move out here, you need assistance in that process. It's never popping up below. It's how you can get a hold of us. You can call, text, email, I don't care what you do. Set a carrier prison. It really doesn't matter. Maybe even smoke signals. I don't know. I might be able to sleep in the sky. But whatever you want to do to get a hold of us, reach out to me. I can help get you on that path to make sure you understand where you need to live, what you need to do, everything in between. So look forward to reaching out with you. And I tell you, when you guys reach out all the time, and I absolutely love it, because the more I get to meet with you, the more I realize there are people like us moving to this state, and I love it. So moving to the next pro. So we have accessibility to the outside of the state. Look, one of the things that actually I didn't really think about when we moved here was the fact that if you live near a major airport, obviously I'm in the Orlando area specifically for just myself and my family. But when we made the move out here, as long as you're near a major airport, you're not going to like Gainesville or, Tallahassee or maybe even Pensacola. If you're like near Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, like one of those main hubs, or like you're within an hour drive of it, what's awesome is you get to be in a position where like so many people travel to Florida that you probably have a good shot of every single airline having an option. I mean, even when we were in San Diego, right? You're always spending more for the flight, and it's so hard to get a connecting flight. Heck, I grew up near Buffalo, New York for 19 years. Oh my God, trying to get anywhere from the west coast of Buffalo, good luck. Here in Florida, I have no issue finding nonstop flights. I mean, I've even seen deals where it's like $200 round trip to the west coast. They're crazy, crazy. Which is great when especially if you don't have family and friends here, people want to visit you or you want to visit them, you have the ability to have that more affordable. Now, that's the term, I don't even know what affordable means anymore, to be honest with you, but it's a term that you can have when it comes to going outside of the state, and I really love it. So that's one of the great things. I actually really didn't plan on it being a pro initially, was how easy it is to get outside of the state. Now, if you're driving, depending how far you are from the border, yeah, you can be driving for a while. Like my dad's moving to Tennessee. We're probably gonna head up there and figure things out. Well, guess what? That's like a 12-hour drive from Central Florida. So, it is what it is. Driving can be a pain in the butt, especially if you're deep into the state. But flying is very, very accessible because every single major city in the United States flies to Florida. Why? Because they come here during the winter. So, cool fact for that. Now, number 4 is the opportunity to grow. So one of the things that I loved about moving to Florida was the ability that I can grow. Now, obviously I run a business. I help people like yourselves when it comes to relocating. I also am very big in trying to, buy more rental properties because this is what I do. This is what I live. It's what I breathe. This is what I try and do every single day because I am determined that there's just not gonna be enough housing. So I wanna get all of it for my boys. But one of the things I love about Florida is there's a lot of jobs, a lot of companies moving here, a lot of opportunity. And depending on what field you're in, especially if you're in like construction or something like that, and you have good skills in any field that you're in, you really have the ability to set yourself apart. I mean, there's a lot of people, there's like 1,000 people a day on average moving to Florida right now. But for those of us that are looking to gain opportunity, maybe starting a business, I've met people who are moving out here want to do landscaping. Or, like I said, construction is really big right now. It doesn't really matter what it is, electricians, it doesn't matter. Even if you're in the military. But there's so much opportunity to take advantage of this growing economy that I think helps a lot of us. Whether it's a job, you're starting a business, you have a little side thing, it doesn't really matter what it is. I promise you there's some good opportunity here. It's one of the things I really enjoyed in the state because it is just immensely opened my eyes to how much possibility there is out there. Because a lot of other areas, especially if you're in an area that's decreasing in population, you find yourself in a position where it just seems like the economy is always getting tighter and more expensive for no reason. So, number 5, the 5th pro that I've had is the people. Now, some people have double-edged swords. I mean, I met people who moved here they lived here for a period of time and they're like, Cameron, the people suck out there. I hate them. They're terrible. And it's like, I mean, there's crazy people everywhere. I mean, sure, there are some weird people in Florida, don't get me wrong. We'll get to that here coming up, but overall, I mean, I'll tell you, when we moved here, so we didn't bring all our stuff from California. It was $6,000, $7,000 to move the stuff over here. And we had a pause, and we, got to run a home, so we're still building our house. And what's funny is we reached out to the community, just reached out like a property manager. Obviously, I'm huge into purchasing homes, but we were renting for a period of time. The property manager was just like, we reach out in this Facebook group. Next thing I know, half our house was furnished with free furniture. I had a dining room table set that I got for free, just solid wood table, because they just didn't want it. So, I know there are bad people, but if you choose the right area, and that's obviously why we are so specific with helping people like yourself, because if you choose the right area, the right city, the right community, you find yourself in a position where people are like you, they're supportive, and they're pretty awesome, to be honest with you. There are crazy people, but the community, the area we chose, I have been immensely surprised every single day by the people I meet, what they're doing, how friendly they are. We homeschool our oldest right now, and there's now a huge homeschooling community. I mean, every single week we went to the firehouse the other day, with the other homeschooling families. We went to one of the other houses, and we all hung out there with a bunch of other kids that are homeschooled, and got to play. Kids got to play, they had a pool. It's awesome stuff. And I can tell you that if you find the right plan and you choose the right area for you, you will be blown away by the people that are here in this state right now. And I just, look, when people tell me that this is terrible, I just, look, you have nothing to say. Well, I'm gonna throw, a little bonus pro. Now, I cleared this before we started the video, so gun nuts, get off my case. The ability to defend yourself. So if you're like me and you like the ability to defend yourself, I'm very thankful. So being in the military, spending all those years doing all that, and living in California and growing up in New York, there are two states where I don't have the right to defend me and my family. And that is a little bonus 6 pro that I found being in Florida. Because if you're like me, you like to shoot, I've gone ski shooting. I really look forward to doing some hog hunting up in North Florida. Look, it's one of those things where if you love hunting, you love the ability to defend your family, this is one of the better states right now to be a part of it. Now, it's not the best state. There's still some regulations against that. But if you're like me, you like to defend your family, hey, come on down. I mean, I'll never forget when I helped someone move to Gainesville. He is like, hey, if you want to go hog hunting, just stop on up, grab the gun. You can just borrow it on the way up. And that's when I knew that I was coming to my people. Being in the military, I'm very pro-American. I love this country. And it's just nice to be moving back to someone the size of the people. It's nice to be moving back somewhere where I can meet people who also love this country and don't think that it's just a burning crap hole because they've never been outside the state and seen what real injustice looks like in other countries. But that's neither here nor there. Now we're gonna go into the cons real quick. Now this is all subjective. Okay, so this doesn't mean they're a bad thing. This is just what I think I've heard a lot of people over the past couple of years that we've helped move out here who they've had issues. So first one, obviously, is hurricanes. Okay, now I live in Central Florida. I chose that for a reason because being in the center of the state, in Orlando, I tend to be sheltered from hurricanes more often than not. Doesn't mean they don't come through and cause damage, but I'm a lot better off than a lot of other coastal areas in Florida. But understand that it is a way of life here. It's not a matter of if you go through a hurricane, it's a matter of when. And you need to understand that, especially if you came from a state where you never had to worry about the weather, be prepared a little bit. Don't be the people that are just going and getting all the toilet paper and the water last minute. Look, there are plenty of companies out there that can give you a couple months supply of freeze-dried food. All right, just be some level of prepared, right? A hurricane's coming in advance. Make sure your vehicles have gas. Understand that you need a backup plan. If you're living in a coastal area, understand that hey, there might be a time that I have to evacuate my family. That's okay. That is a way of life. Understand that yes, you are choosing to live somewhere where damage can happen. It is part of it. So having just some level of backup plan and what you're going to do when that time comes is very, very important. And I want to stress to you that it is a con, but at least it's a con that you can somewhat prepare for to where you have some ability to control the outcome when they happen. So number 2, wildlife. So one thing that is annoying in Florida is that everything's out here to kill you. To be honest with you, sometimes it's the people, sometimes, a lot of times it's the wildlife. All right, alligators, snakes, there's always something out there. So understand, heck, even wild hogs. So you understand that it's not like growing up in the north where you can just go to a lake and swim in the lake. As long as it didn't have leeches and stuff like that. But, you have to understand that the wildlife here, everything is coming out to attack you. It's all trying to do something. You can't just go swimming in random lakes and stuff like that. Even if you go to the coastal waters, you might even see sharks, okay? It is what it is. It is a place where everything's out here to kill you, all right? So understand that you can't just let your kids wander by themselves randomly. Heck, even if you have a big backyard, if they're not old enough, you probably got to be careful, right? There's been kids that have been attacked by alligators in Disney World over the last 20 years. It happens, right? I love to say it's common sense. So if you have common sense, you'll probably be okay. Just understand that if you have common sense and you're not messing with wildlife that you should be messing with, you'll be okay. And also, if you don't know about it, learn about the wildlife. Learn about where they find, where to find the dangers are. Being ignorant it only goes so far. You got to be more informed about the wildlife, so that way if you are going somewhere where the nature is. Now, if you're living in a city or suburb, go to town. Understand snakes are still going to be a thing. Kick your trash can every now and then when you got to move it. But understand that the wildlife is a thing, but, if you're careful, you use common sense, you'll be okay. Now, the third one is crowded in places. Now, California was a place that was insanely crowded all the time. I will tell you that even being in Orlando, crowds are a thing, but the one thing I love about Florida is that you can avoid them. So, crowds are a thing. Traffic is insane in a lot of places. So many people moving here. It is so crowded. Traffic is god-awful at times. But, you know, it's a con with a pro inside of it, because like the con is, yes, it is very crowded, hence why it's more expensive and all these things. But you have the ability to avoid the crowds. It really depends what you're doing. I mean, I've even gone to, I hate going to theme parks personally. It bothers me what I'm doing the wrong way. The cool thing is we've even gone to like Disney World because my wife and kids love it, and felt pretty empty, to be honest with you. So, and also another thing I love about Florida is tons of roadside attractions where you really don't have to deal with that many people. So even with how crowded it is, there's still so much opportunity to just avoid the crowds. But if you're going to like the main state things, there's gonna be some people there for sure, and you have to plan around that, especially during the winter months. So the next one is gonna be the drivers are nuts. So drivers are, I can't tell you, even driving at night, how many cars I see driving without their headlights on. I've seen people just like swerving across, 4-lane roads, just for no reason. I've seen people slam on their brakes for no reason. The amount of exploded tires, and like I think every time I see a Florida tire, it's like a game now. And every time I see like a car, I look at it and the tires have like no tread on them. I know tires are expensive, but holy fuck, like, trying to kill yourself, Florida drivers are nuts. And it's not just the native people, it's because you have so many people moving here from so many different states and so many different driving styles. And if you're like me and you grew up in the country and you don't know how to drive in the city, you're gonna have a bad time. Thankfully, I had to live in San Diego for a period of time. It got me worked up into it, but man, people are crazy here when it comes to driving, and they do not care. They don't care. So if you're trying to get mad at someone, they don't. I promise you, they don't care. Especially with the high level of the retirees down here. It'll be a 60 lane road, and they're going like 40 all the time. So look, drivers are nuts down here. Be prepared that it can be stressful at times. And there are times that like, it's not even like where you're going won't be crowded, but the traffic in between will be the worst. So understand that it's super annoying. Now, the last con is the rising cost of living. We talked about this a little bit already. It is not the cheapest state anymore. It is expensive, but hell, the whole country is expensive at this point. So understand that what I tell people is you're probably gonna spend the same amount of money from wherever you're coming from. Like, you will find a way to spend it. Between utilities, housing, gas, all that stuff, you end up spending more than you were in your area. Now, if you're coming from the middle of nowhere in the country, in the bunkins, like I grew up, and you're from the Midwest or something like that, yeah, you're gonna be spending a lot more compared to those areas. So understand that it is not a cheap place anymore. People are always reaching out sometimes, not always, but it never fails. Every year or month, I'm getting a reach out, and it's someone who's like, Cameron, I'm looking for this crazy cheap place or whatever, and I'm like, that doesn't exist anymore. Florida's cheaper, but it's pretty much a national average, which is like cresting towards that 400,000 for homes and rents getting up there. So understand, there's ways to save money here, but it's not the cheapest state that it used to be. So understand that. Now, if you hear all this information and you're still wanting to come to Florida and you don't know where you want to live, and especially in the Central Florida and Jacksonville area, that's okay. This number popping on below. Again, you can reach out to us. It's what we do. We specialize in this. Like, actually, me and my business partner who lead the team, we were in the military. He's still actually active duty Navy up in Jacksonville at the same time as we're doing this. And we understand what it's like to move across the country. I've made so many moves. I understand how stressful it can be. And we've taken our experience being real estate agents into the mix to help you make the right housing decision when you move here and create that full-on plan. A lot of people just want to get you into the home. I'm actually concerned with the full plan, like who are you using to move here? What do you have to do in the area you're coming from to tie up? All of that. Everything I've gone through, personally gone through it. So reach out to that number, call, text, or email. It doesn't matter. Reach out to us, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.